The Leshen is one of the creepiest, most unusual monsters in The Witcher.
I remember when I first encountered that. Slow, powerful movement that had to see what approached. In a matter of seconds, I was fighting for my life.
Thanks. Anywho, Witcher lore has Slavic written all over it, so let's quickly go over what constitutes as a Slavic country. Slavic countries include the Czech Republic, Bosnia, Serbia, Poland, Slovakia, Belarus, Russia, Ukraine, Bulgaria, Macedonia, Croatia, Slovenia, and Montenegro. With that established, let's get into the mythology behind the Leshen. The classic name for the Leshen is Leshi. The name means he from the forest, and it derives from the word les, meaning forest. It also has different names depending on what region you're in. Borovoi, Gayavoy, Mishkinis, and Mishko Velnius. So, what does it look like? Mythology would describe it as masculine and humanoid, but capable of assuming any form. This includes height and width changes as well. It has long hair and a beard made of living grass and vines. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, while he often has the appearance of a man, his eyebrows, eyelashes, and right ear are missing. Head is somewhat pointed and lacks hat and belt.
Lacks a hat and belt? Preposterous! How dare he, protector of the wood, walking around without a hat outside and no belt?
So, besides being an inappropriately dressed rascal, how did it behave? The Leshen in The Witcher has certain mannerisms that distinguish it from other beasts, so we need to have some kind of base established in order to accurately compare it with its source. In primitive Leshy lore, it has a close relationship with grey wolves and bears, working with them to protect the forest. It is an inherently innocent creature, more akin to a trickster, albeit extremely temperamental. In other words, it's all fun until you piss it off. Creepily enough, these can be heard laughing, singing, whistling, but rarely are they ever seen. It has the propensity to lead travelers astray and abducts children whom he shares with the Chort, known also as the Black One, or in modern times, a subject for another video one day. Moving forward a bit, later in the 20th century, the Leshy became a protector of flocks and herds. If a cow disappeared, people would offer it eggs and bran for safe return of their livestock. It also became synonymous with the Domovoi, or spirit of the house, a tree spirit that inhabits houses through the wood that was used in its construction. It acts as its protector, but can get frisky and cause poltergeist-like phenomenon if it's angered. Okay, so let's recap before we get to the Witcher's Leshen. The Leshy is a masculine, humanoid trickster of the forest that shares many characteristics with what we would consider to be the normal human male, like beards and clothing.
Minus that damn hat and belt!
It protected the woods it inhabited until the 20th century, when it became a protector of livestock and eventually protector of the house. The Witcher 3's Leshen dwells in primeval woods. It's fiercely territorial and hunts with stealth and cunning. They use magic to control plants and animals, making half the battle simply getting close enough to attack. Ancient Leshens are more advanced in their skill and tactics, making them particularly dangerous. As far as its appearance is concerned, we'll see that it looks quite different from what we just talked about. I mean, it has a deer skull adorned with massive horn-like antlers. The neck has a torn cloth draped over it with an X-band wrap around its waist. Small branches protrude through the back with skulls around it. Some variations have these around the waist too. We can see fungus growing off of its wooden body, razor-sharp claws, and thick legs and feet. Well, that is pretty different. Let's see if the behavior lines up. It has totems in the forest, which Geralt has to destroy in order to gain access to the Leshen. Villagers are also known to worship them as protectors of the wood, when in reality, they're essentially just demons that hunt in that forest, killing animals and wandering travelers alike. It has the ability to heal other woodland creatures, in addition to having the ability to call for wolves, crows, and neckers to protect itself and its territory. Its attacks are slow, but they're precise and deadly, using roots to trap and pierce its victims. At this point, you can probably tell where I'm gonna go with this. I mean, it is really strange. The Witcher's known for being so, accurate to the text. You'd think that they would get the lore for the monsters correct too, right? Well, in any case, let's move on to the comparison. The Leshy and the Leshen, while similar in habitat and name, don't really have a lot in common. Physically, they're totally different. The Leshen has no facial hair, it's not fleshy, and doesn't resemble an old man at all. The Leshen has a skull for a head with antlers, the Leshy does not. The claws, the legs, the creepy tattered cloth ensemble.
At least the Leshen has a belt!
Thanks, Geralt. When it comes to its behaviors, they both are able to surround themselves with wolves and other dangerous creatures, and that's pretty much it. And now for the differences in behavior. The Leshen is always dangerous, whereas the Leshy by nature is not. The Leshen is a hunter in the forest, while the Leshy is a protector. Its relationship to the Chort is not found in The Witcher 3, and it's never referred to as a protector of livestock or homes. I hate to say this because everything in The Witcher, like I said before, is so beautifully done, but the Leshen is pretty far from... Wait, what's this? Russian Orthodox humans. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, this changes everything. Hang on. I can't believe I missed this. Let's talk about the church's involvement in paganism. Throughout history, Christianity has gone from continent to continent, telling everyone that their beliefs were wrong, and in many cases demonized the religious beliefs of that area. The Slavic region was no exception. Although paganism remained the dominant religion, Princess Olga of Kiev was the first ruler of Kiev in Russia to convert to Christianity in either 945 or 957 CE. Fast forward a bit, her grandson, Vladimir I, was baptized in 988. This is often considered the birth date of the Russian Orthodox Church, which eventually led the Kievans to Christianity. So how does this change anything? Well, around this time is when things changed for the Leshy as well. Between the 10th and 12th century, Leshy was turned from a protector of the forest to the demon Boruda. Bor means wood consisting of pine, which is perfect because pine is the second most common tree species in that region. This change to Boruda also meant the Leshy's fairy-like demeanor would be distorted to be strictly demonic. The once humanoid bearded creature was now a horrific demon with horns on its head, surrounded by wolves and bears with a terrifying and imposing figure, a symbol of death to those who enter the woods. Do you realize what this means? The Leshen is based not off the Leshy itself, but the post-Christian version Boruda. The deer's skull represents death, the demonic horns are shown in the antlers, the branch-like body is terrifying, and its stature is extremely imposing. It's no wonder why people in nearby villages worshipped it. The fear it strikes into the hearts of those who don't know any better would have mistaken the relic for a deity. All in all, it is pretty misleading naming it Leshen when its mannerisms and appearance are so loosely based off of the Leshy, but I can imagine that the Leshen is probably more recognizable. Maybe that's why they did it. Well, I may never know for sure, but I'm content with this conclusion for the time being, and I hope you guys enjoyed the ride it took to get here. Oh, one more thing. While I was putting this episode together, I completely forgot about the art book that I had. The art book states that the Leshen's appearance was inspired by Slavic legends, but also by Celtic and Anglo-Saxon descriptions of a distantly related figure, Herne the Hunter, a deep wood spirit fitted with large antlers. Art books are great because they give a little bit of insight to things that we wouldn't know about. However, I still believe that Boruda has a big influence over the Leshen's design. If you read the descriptions of Herne the Hunter and the Leshy, they're both fleshy and humanoid, whereas the Leshen in The Witcher is clearly not. Did you know that Bahamut was a giant fish? Or that Ogre Battle for the SNES was named after a Queen song? If you didn't, you may want to check out some of my earlier episodes. Throw in some suggestions in the comment section and yours might get picked. And of course, subscribe so you can catch the next episode. Till next time.